We as movie critics and atheists, we like to look back and would wonder on why a certain year is more important than others. Of course, 1939, 1941, 75, 76, 77, 81, 82, 83 for movies, for performances. But the whole decade of the 1960s belonged to this guy, which I still believe is the greatest actor of the modern generation because he could play anything. And he's three big movies in 1967 where he wasn't nominated for an Oscar stand out in many different ways because he gave three visions of the black experience in three different varied characters. Now, in 1961, Sidney Poitier starred in the film adaptation of A Raising in the Sun, for which he received another Golden Globe Award nomination. Now, this was after, of course, he did the big movie with Tony Curtis, The Defiant Ones. Now, he also starred in '61 in Paris Blue alongside Paul Newman, Joan Woodward, Louis Armstrong, and Diane Carroll. Now, '63 starred in The Lilies of the Field, won an Oscar. He was the first black actor to win the lead actor award. His satisfaction in this honor was undermined by his concern that this award was more of an industry congratulating itself for having him as a token black, and it would inhibit him from asking for more substantive considerations afterwards. Poitier worked relatively little over the following year and remained the only major actor of African descent, and the roles offered were predominantly typecast as a soft-spoken appeaser. Now, of course, Harry Belafonte was getting roles, but not to the level of Poitier. Now, he also did some key roles in The Greatest Story Ever Told as a walk-on, and A Patch of Blue, co-starring Oscar nominee Elizabeth Hartman, and of course Oscar winner Shelley Winters. No, but 1967, we knew something was going to be happening because there was rumors going around in Hollywood that Poitier had three big movies coming out would show a whole different aspect of the black experience. Now, all three came out in '67, but one was kind of delayed. And the first one, of course, was what some key people call the a Coronation Street style spinoff to Sir With Love. Poitier in this one plays a teacher at a secondary school in the East End of London that has a diverse classroom, Indians, blacks, different type of backgrounds. The film deals with numerous social and racial issues in the inner city school, including sexuality, discrimination, abuse, pregnancy, the whole kit and caboodle. The film, although it was big in North America, was met with mixed response as Poitier was praised for his performance, with the critic from Time writing, even the weak moments are saved by Poitier, who invests his role with a subtle warmth. Now, in his own words of that year, he said, "If the fabric of the society were different, I would scream to high heaven to play villains and to deal with different images of Negro life that would be more dimensional. But I'll be damned if I do that at this stage of the game. Not even there is only one, not when there's only one Negro acting working in films with any degree of consistency." Now, the word black actor is working, but not to the heavy promotional level as Poitier. Now, the big one, what I call the middle of his trilogy in '67, another one he never won an Oscar, but Steiger did for it, was with Norman Jewison's film noir mystery drama In the Heat of the Night, which I think is the best movie of the '60s. Poitier played the very strong and a very egotistical Virgil Tibbs, a black police detective from Philly, not Mississippi, but Philadelphia, who investigates a murder in the Deep South in Mississippi alongside a cop with racial prejudice, played by Rod Steiger. The film was a critical and box office success. Norman Jewison, of course, did a great job, with Bosley Crowther of New York Times calling it the most powerful film I have seen in a long time. Roger Ebert placed it at number 10 of his top 10 list of 67 films. I think he was smoking crack. It is the best movie of '67. It did win the Oscar. Now, Act Murphy of Variety felt that the excellent Poitier and outstanding Steiger performances overcame noteworthy flaws, including uneven script. I don't think the script was uneven. There was a different ad-libbing, and you had three things going on. You had the mystery, you had the racism, where Poitier is racist against white people, and Steiger's not really racist against black people, he's racist against people that feel they're going to take his, his spotlight. Now, Poitier did receive a Golden Globe Award and British Academy Award Film Award nomination for his performance. Now, the third one is the most controversial, which I think is Stanley Kramer's interesting work called Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. In this one, Poitier played a man in a relationship with a white woman, played by Catherine Houghton, the niece of Catherine Hepburn in real life. The film revolves around her bringing him, a doctor, to meet her with her parents, played by Catherine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy, allegedly the couple in real life. The film was one of the rare films at the time to depict an interracial romance in a positive light, as interracial marriage historically had been illegal in most states in the United States. At the time of the movie, it was still illegal in 17 states, mostly southern ones, until June 12, 1967, 6 months before the film was released. The film was a Christmas and critical financial success. In his film review, Roger Ebert described Poitier's character as a noble, rich, intelligent, handsome, ethical medical expert, and that the film is a magnificent piece of entertainment. It will make you laugh and make you even cry. To win his role as Dr. Prentice in the film, Poitier had to audition for Tracy and Hepburn at two separate dinner parties. Now, at that time, Poitier began to be criticized for being typecast as an over-idealized African-American. Characters were not permitted to have any sexuality or personality faults, such as character in Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Poitier was aware of this pattern himself, but was conflicted on the matter. He wanted more varied roles, but he also felt obliged to set an example with his characters by challenging old stereotypes, as again he was the only major actor of African descent being cast in leading roles in the American film industry at the time. Well, he wasn't really American, of course, from the Bahamas, born in Miami, but from the Caribbean. Now, for instance, in '66, he turned down an opportunity to play the lead in an NBC television production of Othello with that spirit in mind. Despite this, many of the films in which Poitier starred during the 1960s would later be cited as social thrillers by both filmmakers and critics. Now, put this in perspective, ladies and gentlemen. The midday movies in Canada, late 60s, early 70s. We were seeing Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, The Sir with Love, unedited, of course, and In the Heat of the Night, which was slightly edited for content because of the nude scene at the first and other stuff. But it was such a diverse of opinion. You weren't saying to yourself, oh, this is Sidney Poitier and treated for movies like Tom Cruise. This was unique characterizations. But Virgil Tibbs, to me, you look at the two sequels in the 70s as well, it was basically someone that was smarter than the people he was dealing with, but he was dumb in his own way because he underestimated white people in relation to solving of the crime. And as he played the character not just as a black man, but as a private investigator that thought he knew everything. And like I said, when I write my fiction books, I'm writing a fiction book about a character in early 1900s San Francisco that's what they call a trained investigator or a private investigator. You have to understand where he was coming from. There's not a scene. There's scenes wasted in To Sir with Love. There's scenes wasted in Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, but there's not one scene wasted in the Heat of the Night. Again, if you haven't seen this before, you can imagine this. At the time, this is 1967, no white man was ever slapped by a black man in a movie or even in real life without violence or charges occurring. There's a major scene here where he thinks the sharecropper has killed the victim in the case he's investigating, and he asks his pertinent questions to the case, and the sharecropper, the landowner, slaps him across the face. And according to the documentary movies that was on CNN, he felt he needed to slap that person's back. Now, was he playing it as Sidney Poitier or as a black man? See, that's the thing is. In the movie, you forget after a while he's black because after the first 20 minutes of racism occurs when none of the white people want to help him with the autopsy. And when he asks, he said, "Do you have a bathroom I can use?" They're all saying to themselves, well, what do we do? Because you gotta understand, To Sir with Love and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner were functional for the time. But if you really want to see any type of movie that presaged like all the Streets of San Francisco, Columbo, Cannon, all the investigative shows of the 1970s, the Quinn Martin productions and NBC production, all started with Heat of the Night. So that influenced more than just black cinema or black actors. The two sequels are okay, but this is very effective. And the cast itself was quite amazing because you would think that you know what's going on, but you really don't know what's going on. It's typical film noir. But this one, there's no stupid woman. I mean, stupid man involved. The characters are pretty well, all connected. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's a story about Sidney Poitier's great year of 1967. He should have been nominated for an Oscar, but why he was never nominated, I don't know what the fuck was going on in the heads of these people. Maybe they were just because he won it in '62. Can you imagine if he won his second Oscar in 5 years? He was the greatest actor in 1960s. Male actor anyway. Female is arguable, but Peter O'Toole was good as well. But I don't think Peter O'Toole could ever play film noir as good as Sidney Poitier. You can play film noir to a certain extent. You look at Glenn Ford, right? You look at Robert Mitchum, method actor, Lee Marvin as well, The Killers. If you can play film noir, you can play anything. James Dean was good at film noir as well. To basically solve something that's either unsolvable or shouldn't be solved because shit's going to happen, that's what In the Heat of the Night is all about. And there's black tropes in there, including the black woman that would provide abortion to one of the key characters in the show, and also basically the rednecks that wanted to kill Poitier just for being black. It was pretty bizarre. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we're doing with our screenshots and remote control podcast, let us know in a like, comment, subscribe, or share. Bye.